Welcome to VideoSavvy Marketer Podcast, where we say diving into video marketing without a strategy is like waiting for your cat to play fetch with you. You can hope all you want, but you're just going to end up with a confused cat and a deep sense of disappointment. My name is Uroš from Movie Media, where we empower B2B tech product manufacturers to tell their story like film industry giants. Companies not talking to their clients about their needs is like going on a blind date and deciding you're a perfect match because you both breathe air. This is why I invited my good friend Andrej Peršolja to the show. He's a brand positioning specialist, and last year he got blue in the face screaming, "Talk to your clients!" on LinkedIn. Maybe you noticed. All right, let's jump right in. Hello, my friend.
Hey.
How are you doing today?
I'm good. It's Friday, so
It's Friday. Yeah,
It's
it
Friday.
is. It is Friday. You're right.
so I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing also okay. A little bit burned out, but you know how it is.
Usual, yeah, the usual normal standard Friday.
Exactly, the standard Friday. Yeah. First of all, thank you for coming. I
Thank you
really
for having
do
me.
appreciate you being here. Although we are really good friends and we meet each other a lot and talk a lot, it's still like really nice for you to.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, because I'm just a new come up on this podcast scene. I know that you are more into like professional podcasting with,
I don't think I am. I've done 3 or 4 so far, so
But-
it's not like.
Yeah, but this is your second podcast today, right?
Oh yeah, but. All right. You got me there. Like,
Touche.
I can't, yeah.
All right,
I'll give you a point.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let's get serious for a
All
moment
right.
here.
Hold on. Hold on.
Awesome. All right.
This is gonna be the best episode you ever record. Just remember that.
I also think so.
All right.
All right. Just like, can you just introduce yourself and tell us what you do?
So, well, for those of you that don't know me, my name is Andrej. I work in positioning, and what I do, I find value in companies and startups and products,
Mm-hmm.
and guide them how to communicate that value. So, what I firmly believe is that products don't fail because they're bad products.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of good products fail because of miscommunication, because we can't properly explain the value of the product, and so the clients don't see it, and so that they don't buy it. They don't use it, they don't buy it. And I found that there is a lot of good products out there that don't get enough traction, basically, so they don't get an investment, etc., because we don't know how to articulate the value in that product. And so this is what I do. I help companies basically expose that value.
Awesome. Now that you are talking about this, like I realized that I think that our missions are really, really similar.
Okay.
Because I also believe that there are like tons of really, really good products in the world that are doing good, and that like technical, like high tech products that can change the world.
Yep.
But they are not going to change the world because nobody's talking about them, or
Yep.
they're not talking about them in the right way.
Yeah.
And that's a bummer, if
Yeah.
you ask me. you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Precisely. It's let's be honest. It's mostly working with technical people who have way too much knowledge on their product, and so they
Yep.
don't know how to, put that product and how to articulate the value of that product to the market, because the market just doesn't understand, because it doesn't have the same context that these people do. So if I'm somebody like, I'm an owner or a product manager or something that has, I have 20 years of experience in my industry. I know a lot of tech, like really in depth. That's a lot of knowledge that the users don't have, right? And so when we're trying to explain these products, be it through, video, or be it through, LinkedIn posts, whatever it is, or, landing pages, etc., we can't, or it's really difficult to get into the customer's shoes, because we just have way too much knowledge on the product and on the technology and so on. And because we can't do that, it's then really difficult to, get the users to care about the product.
Exactly.
And so I think I think it's sort of like you could put it like one after the other. So basically, I could like expose the value of the product, and then the company would come in and say, "Okay, Uroš, now please do a video about it. Like, how can we communicate that in a video form, right?" So it's it's kind of like that, because I do a lot of that, not through not specifically through video, but through then content and marketing strategies and all of that. So basically, positioning is sort of the basis of almost everything that's communication related, so marketing related. It's the basis of if you want to have a marketing strategy, if you want to have a marketing plan, and if you want to communicate that value to the audience, you need the basis, and positioning is basically that basis, that context that we give, so that our strategies and videos and all of that works.
Awesome. So how did you end up in positioning? Like how? Like,
well, nobody. I think nobody sort of ends up in positioning on purpose. There is not like oh, I went to school for positioning or something. Like it's just it doesn't work like that. How I ended up, it was actually through my own sort of. So I was a growth hacker, or head of growth, I guess, at a startup that I co-founded, and we were we had good traction in the Slovenian market, but we couldn't penetrate the US market. And the what I found really quickly was that, or rather the whole thing we couldn't get to the US market because nobody cared, and like we were trying to do all sorts of marketing hacks, marketing tricks. For about a year, but nobody sort of responded to that. Our marketing wasn't working, and that was until we figured that we were giving the wrong context to the audience, and when we repositioned that product, we immediately saw the numbers improve. And so what I got so fascinated by that, because there was a lot of hard work in a lot of the marketing campaigns that we did. Like we wrote an 80-page book, which is not an easy thing to do, right? But like nobody was responding to it, and so we didn't know why. And when we started to switch our messaging, our language around our context around the product, and people started responding, like things sort of clicked. And I became fascinated at that, because these weren't huge changes. Like we did big marketing campaigns that didn't work, but like then we made like a small change that produced results. So I was like fascinated how you can do something so like you can do 95% of things so right, but just miss on one big small detail in the beginning, and you've basically messed up everything, right? Your marketing doesn't work. And so from there, basically, I started talking about this in the local community where I mentored, and there were a couple of people, or there were 3 people in the first week that said, "Hey, I'm struggling with this as well. So can you help me?" And I started just helping people and trying to figure out like how this works and does it work, and all of the sort of trying to figure out like what's what. And we got some pretty good results with all of these cases. Like people were happy with the things that we did, and one thing led to another, and then somebody asked me, hey, would you do a workshop on this? And I said, well, all right, let's do that, right? And it sort of escalated from that, and to the point where now I'm working with clients from US, Germany, Swiss, and so on. So yeah, I mean,
that's a really inspiring story, actually.
Well, yeah, it sort of happened.
I mean, I know you since I knew you back then, but I kind of never realized that is your story,
Yeah.
Awesome. So tell me one thing. Like, okay, you tried to figure it out by yourself. Now you're working with huge clients. What do you think like are like a couple of the biggest mistakes that company startups do when it comes to like let's say positioning?
So usually first time founders are going to make the mistake of trying to ignore positioning. Positioning has a positioning problem. So positioning is actually, it's quite intangible. People don't quite understand it.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
so they try to avoid it. Now the issue, go ahead.
That's why one of my questions here was like, what the hell is positioning? You
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
But you just kind of answer it by yourself, you know?
Oh, there you go. So positioning has a positioning problem. So the issue is that positioning is intangible. And like, I like to think about positioning sort of like a story. So it's, it's a story that needs to sort of show how you're unique, and it needs to hold up. It needs to be real, right? It can't be fake, or, it can't be unbelievable, let's say. So when you think about positioning in a company sense, it's almost like, when you're going through the landing page or any marketing brochure, marketing material, etc., is, can I believe that, right? So if you think about, let's say you have a 25-year-old person who just finished a university degree or something like that, and they say, oh, now I'm going to consult enterprise level sales on something. That's not believable, right?
No,
because
not.
you're 25, you know nothing about the corporate world, you have never worked a day in your life. I don't believe that you'll do a good job, right? The same goes for products, right? It's like, when I come into the companies and they say something like, oh yeah, our tech is way better than the competitor's tech, right? And you take a look at the team and you see that, there are, I don't know, 20 employees in the company, and I don't know, 6 out of that is marketing, and 5 people are in sales, and then, there are 9 people left, and then you have 3 managers and 1 virtual assistant and so on, and basically 2 developers. You can't be better at tech because you have 2 developers, right? You can't compete with somebody who has, I don't know, 30, right?
Exactly.
So it's like, can your story hold up? That's basically positioning. So it's sort of, can we tell a story, and can we make the story hold up in the eyes of a client? Will a client see a red flag somewhere, or will they actually trust us? And so obviously the story has to sort of show your unique value in that process as well. But so that's how I think about positioning. What was your original question?
So what are a couple of main mistakes?
Right. So the first thing that some of the companies do is that they don't think about, so they try to ignore positioning because they don't understand that it's not tangible enough. It's not, oh, this is something that I write on a piece of paper and I have an actual outcome. Like, I don't know, sales, for example. Sales gives me money, so it's tangible. I know how it works. With positioning, there is sort of it's not tangible enough, and so they try to avoid it. And the problem with that is that positioning actually happens at all times. It's going to happen whether you want it or not. So you can't, because positioning is the context that you give out. So, for example, when I started talking, you started having an opinion on me, on my talking, etc., etc. It can be a positive one, it can be a negative opinion, it can be neutral. You can be, I don't care about that. That's still an opinion. You can't not have an opinion on something that's in front of you, right? So if we see a product, we can have a positive opinion on the product. We can have, oh, like, this is really interesting. We can have a negative, like, that's not for me. We can have, like, we can be like, I don't care about it. Like, why would anyone solve that or want that, right? This is still an opinion. So you can't escape it. So even if, companies that are trying to ignore it, and these are usually sort of first-time founders, they're still giving out an opinion, even if they're trying to ignore it. So that's sort of the first big mistake. The second biggest mistake I think that the companies do is trying to oversell what they're doing. And so it's hyping up the, for example, let's say that, I don't know, like a case that I had a couple of months ago, I think, there was a software development company that was working on a CRM, and like, what are the things that sort of come to mind when you think about CRM? You can talk about accountability, because it'll make me accountable in following up with people. You can talk about sales. You can talk about a lot of things, right? You can now you can even talk about AI, right? So we have AI-powered notifications that will keep you accountable, whatever. Anything in that space would sort of come in, like, would make sense in that context. their value proposition was, we help you make more money, or something like that. We improve your bottom line or something like that. That's not true, because the company's bottom line depends on a million different reasons.
Exactly.
And the CRM is probably not one of them, right? So you're going too far into the why we need this. I understand the mental exercise that the team did and came up to that solution. So I know that they went into okay, so what are we trying to help people with? So if they have our CRM, they will be more accountable, which means they'll follow up more with clients and leads and so on. And so the sales team will be more effective. What that leads to more sales, so they're making more money. Yeah, but that's not a direct consequence, right? It's you still need a good seller, etc. So basically there are too many variables in between that you would be actually it's not like I install your CRM and then I'm making money and I'm on vacation, right? So it's not like we don't connect that in that context, right? So that's sort of, I think, the biggest mistake. And then, putting words in like elevating your empowering your sales team, right? So, what kind of context, let's say that, you work on a CRM and your value proposition is we empower your sales team. What does that tell you?
Is, again, nothing tangible.
Exactly.
Like what does it mean to empower your sales
Exactly.
team?
Basically, you could be a drug dealer and say the same thing. I'm selling cocaine.
Awesome.
Right? I'm empowering your sales team. I'm selling cocaine to your sales team. It's the same thing, right? But so
awesome.
Yeah,
I love where this conversation went.
I mean, you can always cut it out, but basically, you know what I'm saying? It's like you're not selling, you're not saying anything with that word, right? So just change it. Like just tell what you do. It's
this was the second one. Let's move to the third one. But before that, like there's so much of this marketing fluff, and I don't know when this happened, but I guess 15 years ago, when everything was like more button up or whatever, there was a time and a place for this marketing fluff. But nowadays, if you ask me, like I want to puke,
Yeah.
And especially, of course, I use ChatGPT, and I have to tell him like each and every time, just like kind of, can you please simplify it? Like I don't want to have this marketing fluff, Yep.
No, exactly. I completely agree, and I think AI is going to make this worse. And I think it's already making this.
It is already making it worse.
If you look at the LinkedIn content that some people put out, it's like you can't read that. It's just like like everyone.
This and like telling the same thing like 3 times over and over again with different words. Like I read like a paragraph, and what did I just read? Like one thing, but in a different way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, they said that repetition is good marketing. So.
But I totally agree with you. The repetition is good marketing, but not in single paragraph. That's weird. I don't know.
No, I completely agree. I completely agree. I think it's gonna get worse because, what I think it comes down to is that companies that are in saturated markets and we are all like, the more we develop, the more and the easier it gets to create products as well. And it's now really easy you can create a SaaS platform with AI. So, we can easily spit out products. They're not necessarily going to be good products, but if they're marketed in the correct way, you could technically do something with it. So I think with AI, this is going to get worse. I think a lot more companies will have sort of generic, overhyped value propositions, and so that means more work for me, which is good.
Awesome. I know that you mentioned like 2 of the biggest mistakes. There's I guess the third one.
Oh, there is always the there is always like, do you have OCD? Do we need to finish on 3?
No, we don't have. I have OCD, but we don't have to finish on that.
All right.
Just let's move on.
Sounds good.
Yeah, because I like where this conversation is going, because we touched upon the almighty AI. Today in the morning I woke up, and while surfing, like the morning, the morning routine of surfing the YouTube channels that I follow, I stumbled upon NKBHD. He's a like huge tech reviewer on YouTube, and his video was like, this is the end, or this is going to change video forever, something like that, in this way, and the thumbnail was like half of him and half of him in an AI generated way, I said, okay, I need to watch this. And he actually, I mean, I forgot the name of the tool, but the videos, the clips that this tool is like spitting out, for a person who doesn't know what to look at in the AI generated video, they look real.
Okay.
Like with people, you can see, like, I don't know why exactly, but AI has really problems with people's hands.
Okay.
It doesn't know how to, what to do with them, like how they're moving, or like how many fingers do we have, and so on and so forth, So if you know what to look for, you can see that it is AI generated. But if you don't know,
it looks real.
And of course, like, in 4-5 seconds clip, you're not going to go and digest
Obviously.
that while surfing LinkedIn or Instagram or whatever, and it's like, oh, this is going to change everything, we are going to, like, we videographers are going to lose jobs and so on and so forth. And I'm like, I don't believe so, because like the hype is here already, but it's the same as with ChatGPT. At the beginning, hype was like on through the roof, and then when people started to use it, they kind of realized, well, I don't know how to prompt it properly. So they started to hire people who are prompt engineers and so on and so forth. And I think that the similar fate is going to be here, except for certain stock videos.
No, absolutely.
Because if you need a stock video of a I don't know, like waves crashing into the shore, like, you don't need to send the guy there with a drone to film that. You can just AI generate. Yes, sure. But if you have your product which is unique, you will still have to, like, kind of video about it.
I completely agree, because the problem with that, I think, is that sort of what will happen is that the hype is already kind of dying down with AI, and it's not gonna go away, obviously.
No,
but we now need to dial down the hype and start growing sustainably into actual solutions that we can use, right? Because right now there is a lot of, like, unfinished products at best out there with no value whatsoever. What I think will happen is the same as in copywriting, basically, which is, if you need somebody to create a strategy, a content strategy for you, tell you what to do, and you then just write a post, ChatGPT can do that instead of you. But if the value that you bring to the table is actually, you analyze the company, you figure out what to talk about, and then you turn that into a content strategy and turn that into posts, and the company gets engagement, that's still value, because ChatGPT won't be able to do that instead of you. And so there is still value for the copywriters, and good copywriters still have a lot of work. The bad ones are gonna get cut off. And I think the same is in videography. As you said, like, the stock video, that's going to be a problem. If your business model is creating stock videos for, like, to sell for masses, etc., that you now sold for, like, I don't know, $20 a short video or something like that, then you have a problem. But if your value is actually, no, let's expose the value of this product by putting it into a video and creating a video, etc., ChatGPT still can't think instead of you.
No.
So it can't make a good decision instead of you. So I definitely don't think there is going to be like
I heard, like, really cool story, when before Ford invented the car, they were like, everybody had a horse, and so there were a lot of people who were like doing the horse saddles, like a lot of them, because it was a huge people just there was a need for that. And then Mr. Ford created the first car, and that industry kind of just, went through the roof. And suddenly, but there was not so much of, need to have people who are producing horse saddles. But today you still find people who produce horse saddles, right?
Exactly.
And they charge like a lot.
Exactly. Yeah.
So as you said before, like the ones who are maybe not that good, they are going to kind of, they will have to pivot, do something else.
Exactly. They'll have to start.
Or they will have to get better.
Yeah, either better
Yeah.
or they'll have to start doing like leather seats for cars, right? It's same thing. Like either you pivot or you become good at it.
Exactly.
I completely agree.
Exactly. Before you mentioned content strategy, and this is also one of the reasons why I would like to talk to you, because I think that you came up with like this really effective way of producing content and to stay relevant and to just being out there on all the time. So can you share with us a little bit like what are your channels and like how this process looks like?
Yeah. So my main channel is LinkedIn, and my pain point was that like creating videos, creating content, creating LinkedIn posts was time consuming. And whenever I stumble across something like that, I usually like, there is basically two ways to deal with that. Like just on the high level strategy, you can either adapt your process to work or you can say, I'm not going to do that anymore, right? These are the two options that you have basically. Because doing it, like I was doing it, for example, I don't know, a couple of years ago when I started with LinkedIn, and I started doing content in like November. And by the end of November, I was burnt out because I was spending all of my time doing content and not on so the moment that I got, two additional clients, I couldn't do the content anymore. Or I could work weekends and nights, etc., and that's not sustainable. So basically I had two choices. Either I stopped doing content, and that's what I did at that point because I had no other choice because I had client work, or I adapt the systems, and that obviously needs time, right? So what I was working on over sort of the next year is trying to figure out how to create a system that will help me create content on a consistent basis without taking too much of my time and effort, right? And so here is sort of how my system works. So I start with the research, and I know everyone will hate me for using that word, but that's how I start. Basically, I go onto like Quora and LinkedIn, etc., and I look at what do people search when it comes to positioning, right? So what are their questions that I can answer? And basically I get down, keywords and key searches and key sort of questions that they have that I can answer, right? Then I put them into sort of topics. So, this relates to product market fit, this relates to positioning, this relates to client acquisition, this relates to et cetera, and I have questions that I need answers, et cetera, and so I have sort of the topics that I want to talk about. So product market fit is one of the topics that I talk about. Positioning relates well to that. So, and these are the questions that people are asking in that space. And the same for unique value propositions and client acquisitions and strategy and all of that comes with it, right? And then I create one long piece of content that sort of answers all of these questions. And this is video in my case. So what I actually create is what I actually start with is I sort of bullet point everything that I need to talk about, and then I record myself with just my laptop. I record myself thinking about this thing. So it's almost like a podcast, but less structured. It's just me going through bullet points and just thinking about this stuff so I can learn how to articulate things and so on. And so when I'm done with that, basically what I have is a transcript of the topic that's basically gonna get edited into a video, video script, so an actual script. Okay. So to that, I add, the intro. So I try to make it interesting. I still have to work on that, but try to create like an interesting intro. And then I always forget to add like subscribe to my channel and stuff like that. But basically, like I create the intro, and then I create a sort of in this video you need to watch this video if these are your pain points, and then this is the value that you're going to get, and then I get into the actual content, and what comes out is sort of a script for a usually about 40 to 50 minute video that I then record, edit, and cut into pieces. Cutting it into pieces means cutting it into sort of 3 or 4 larger pieces. So the whole video, the whole 45 minute video, I put that on YouTube, but I also cut it into 4 pieces that address specific topics, and then I put each of these onto YouTube as well. And then, so what I have is one really long video of 45 minutes that only people on the bottom of the funnel that want to convert will see, and nobody else usually. Because it's too long, right? Then I have 10 to 15 minute videos on certain topics. So for example, when I talk about product market fit, one of the chapters is going to be, how to create your unique value proposition that attracts customers or something like that. And I'm going to turn that into sort of a 10-minute video or something like that, and give them my way of thinking about it, etc., etc. And so that's a sort of shorter thing for middle of funnel and so on. And I turn those videos into shorts, so less than a minute basically, that go on LinkedIn. But I also turn every longer piece of video, this 10 to 15 minute video, into a blog post. And so what I'm building actually is a YouTube channel with multiple videos. So we have long form 45 minutes, 10 to 15 minute ones, and the shorts. And then blogs on the SEO side. So basically I publish everything on my website, and I create blogs that are sort of SEO optimized, and everything out of that gets turned into a newsletter, which is a sort of a teaser for the blog, and into LinkedIn posts. And this is sort of how I managed to squeeze sort of the whole month of content into sort of 2 days of work.
Awesome.
Because I only have to record the 45-minute video once.
Okay.
And that, how it is with video, especially if you're not a professional video producer, because you set up your scene and everything, and then you figure out that you forgot to open the mic recorder or something like that, or the camera, or
By the way, we are recording. Okay.
That's good. See, because you're professionals, right? I forget these things, and so basically that filming or recording that video took me a lot of time, simply because I was doing mistakes, and then I wasn't happy with the result because I forgot to open one light and I was in the dark, or I had a black t-shirt on a black background, and I basically I wasn't seen in the video. So a lot of things like that. So basically it took a lot of my time to record these videos. Now I sort of shortened it to an hour and a half maybe to record the videos. Then I edit this. Probably that's the first thing that I'm going to outsource though. But, it takes me basically 1 day to create the content, and then another day to sort of cut it into pieces and structure it onto the sort of the LinkedIn. And I'm also I get help now from my girlfriend, who is actually helping me with posts on LinkedIn. So that helps as well.
But you are basically 2-people team.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't have a content team.
Yeah, but this is so fascinating, because basically what you managed to do is squeeze the whole month of content into 2 days.
Yeah. Well, I had to.
Yeah, you had to, because you didn't have any other choice, basically.
I didn't. Yeah, I mean, it was either that or don't do it, right? But I sort of wanted to do it. I mean, the thing is that you can make systems, I think, work if you want to. You just need to be smart about it. It's just about figuring out, okay, so what works, what doesn't work. And I had a lot of I was doing that for a year, devising a plan on how devising a sort of content, not content strategy, but sort of a process that takes all these pieces and how it, and I'm still not happy with it. You know, I'm still like trying to figure out, I'm always trying to improve, but the only difference is that now I'm not improving my process on how I do content. I'm actually focused on how I can make better content that gets more reach, more traction, and so on and so on, right? It's not about the effort anymore. Now it's about, you know, sort of results, or, you know, how do people respond to that and so on. But I can't do, like, the problem is, I would love to get up at 5 a.m. in the morning inspired to write a LinkedIn post, but I'm not. Like, I'm not, like, no. That's like, at 5 a.m., well, first of all, I'm still sleeping for another 2 hours, but like, I get up at 7:30 usually.
Don't you know that if you're not waking up at 5 a.m.,
yeah,
you are not successful in life?
Yeah, I know. I don't care. No, like, the thing is that I can't do, like, I can do sort of, oh, today I'm inspired to do a LinkedIn post, and then I'll do a LinkedIn post. But when you have, you know, a client who works for the Department of Defense in the US, and you have to spend all of your effort and energy into figuring out their positioning, I don't have the mental capacity of thinking about a stupid LinkedIn post that day.
I mean, you are like solving bigger problems.
Exactly,
you know?
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, I'd like to think so, but the problem is that I can't wait for inspiration to, like, you need a bit of discipline, sort of, and it's way easier to have discipline if you have a month of content scheduled in advance for me, right? And I'll still tweak it, like, in between. Like, I have. Basically, for example, you know, at any point almost, I have a month worth of content scheduled or almost scheduled in advance. I'll always sort of tweak it along the way. So I won't get, like, it's not like on the 1st of February, I schedule the content and then don't think about it. I still go into those posts and I, you know, tweak them a bit, or, you know, add a new perspective to it or something like that. I'm still changing it. But if it's Friday and I'm tired because it was a long week and I had 3 workshops and 2 podcast appearances, etc., I'm not forced to do it.
Yeah.
And it gives you a bit of sort of a freedom to, you know, if I want to do it, I will. But if I don't, it's good enough because I've already thought about it. And so having this as a sort of a
backup plan.
Safety net almost, it's sort of refreshing, because when you don't have to do it, you kind of want to do it. And it's like it comes from a place of sort of motivation and, you know, oh no, I don't have to do it, but I want to see what, you know, how can I make this better, and so on. And so, yeah, that's sort of how I operate.
It's really interesting. I just admit, you know, I mean, inspiring. I don't have a month of content plan ahead. But I am getting there. You know? The reason why we are sitting here is exactly this, you know, because I want to, in a way, like, copy your process, because I think it's genius, you know.
Yeah, but I think you should do you, and you are doing you, because, for example, I never went into podcasts, and it's something that, you know, I've been thinking about it for the past year for now. But, like, I never went into that process and actually started doing it.
Yeah.
I might at some point. But
but I don't know if you're aware of the fact that even though you didn't go into podcasting, the way you do it is really similar.
It's similar.
Basically, what are podcasts? Podcasts are long form content, and where is the value in this? Yeah, the value is like what we're talking about. First of all, you need to talk about something that is valuable and that has, like, you know, that people are going to listen to. But then you can derive from derive, is it the word? It doesn't matter. Then you can get from this long form content, you can get, like, tons of short or even shorter pieces of content that are going to, like, cover your whole funnel. Or, you know, and that's the point. That's like the point why I'm doing this is the same as yours. Like, how can I squeeze a whole month of content into 1 day or 2 days?
Yeah, and, like, I think that you're actually at this point, I think you're actually doing it better than me, because I just have my own thoughts that I'm sharing with my newsletter subscribers and LinkedIn followers. You're actually doing it with other people as well, and this sort of, it gives you obviously more the dynamics, but it also like it creates an additional value because it's not just one person doing it, right? So
true, yeah. Although I think, and this is again something that I learned from you, is like two-edged sword, because if you are a authority, if you want to become an authority on in certain industry, on topic or whatever, and if you only invite guests, the guests are the authority in the podcast, in the interview, and so it's harder to position yourself as the authority if you have this kind of a model. So this is why I decided to I want to have guests,
mix it up,
but I also want to I don't want to have guests,
No, I get it. I think you should mix it up. And like to your point, I think I'll have to mix it up at some point with my content as well. So, I'll start doing something like this as well, but, only as sort of guest episodes or something like that. So it's not going to be a podcast, but, I'll have 3 guests in a year or something like that, for example. Right? Like the problem is that, if you do I don't want to talk to too many people, right? It's
you're introvert.
It's annoying. So no, I'm kidding, but I'm kidding. But no, I think that the model that you have is absolutely correct. You need sort of I've seen so many people doing podcasts and getting nowhere with them. I've been on a couple of podcasts, for example, where we talked about the podcasting and how it's going, because I was interested in the topic, because I was thinking about it, like going into podcasts for a while. And like people that were on the other side, and one was, for example, an agency owner, and one was I think she had an agency as well for like copywriting and stuff. And basically what they told me was, or what I saw basically, because they told me that, it's going quite good, etc. But then, they post videos on LinkedIn and they get 13 likes or something like that. And I can get that without doing podcasts, right? So, what's the point? And then when I actually talked to them about, the business, etc., and they said, it's difficult, and it's difficult to measure whether podcasting actually makes any difference, because they were sort of struggling. I mean, everyone was sort of struggling in 2023, but consultants especially. But I saw that if you're just doing podcasts to create podcasts, it's not a good model.
No.
You need to have it sort of structured in a way that it shows sort of, I have guests that provide value, but I also position myself as the authority. Otherwise, it makes no sense, because I won't be getting anything out of this.
I mean, we have the same experience, right? Me, you, and another friend of ours, Matic, that we also have another Slovenian podcast called Solo to Six. And that was I remember when we started it, was let's just have fun. Let's just start doing it, and it didn't have any deeper meaning. We still do it, but you are like 3 boys talking, shit in front of camera,
exactly,
and laughing and stuff,
exactly. And because we had basically no purpose with it, there is nothing to it except that we have a good time, right?
Exactly.
All right. So that was the point of that. But if you want to build a podcast, for example, if you had a company, so if you had a company that wanted to attract clients, leads, etc. through their podcasting system, I believe that they could do that, but you need to have it sort of strategically placed somewhere in the funnel. You need to have them, because nobody is gonna if you just create a podcast episode, or even if you do 50, doesn't matter. You create 50 amazing content episodes for your brand, whatever the brand is, and you put that on YouTube, and you're going to get 20 views on each episode, right? Because nobody's going to just watch that. If it doesn't get sort of repurposed and reshared and etc., if there is no distribution to it, there is sort of no point to it, right?
Exactly.
And so you need good content, you need professional looking content, and you need to distribute it as well. And then and it has to obviously fit into your strategy. And when you have that, I think you have sort of the golden trifecta then that actually, it makes sense. Oh yeah, we should actually do a podcast because, our CEO is a brilliant guy. Like people need to hear his thoughts, etc., etc. And then, they can hire you and create a podcast and they can distribute it and they can actually have clients and leads watching that and saying, yes, we want to work with this company because this guy is brilliant, right?
Exactly.
And we believe in this vision and mission and all of that, right? But it has to be sort of, I think, sort of a strategic approach to it.
It does, because like creating or doing a podcast just because everybody else, because nowadays, like, how many people do you know that are
exactly.
I know tons of people who are doing podcasts. I'm one of them. But as I said, like the it's not just okay, let's do a podcast, but it's a calculated strategy behind it, behind the why we are sitting here right now in doing this.
Exactly. And I think like in for example, in your case, I believe it's good because there is not that many good video channels, podcasts and stuff like that on video content, for example. So I believe you can add value to like there is a ton of marketing managers out there who don't know how to use video. And I think there is value in you sharing like your experiences and your thoughts and your like use cases on I know you've worked with a lot of good companies that used your video sort of as a for marketing purposes, right? Either for conferences or whatever it is, and or new products and so on. So sharing how you did that, I believe that can be really good content because there is a lot of marketing managers and junior marketers and so on who don't know who know that we should be using video. Everyone else is doing it, like our competition is doing it, and they are surpassing us on the left line, right? So we know we should be doing it, but how do you even start, right?
Exactly.
And so I think like if you can share those those use cases on how to solve that pain points, I think that's good content that's also get reshared automatically by people on LinkedIn, YouTube, and
I totally agree. Right? I totally agree, and again that's the reason why I started with this. Let's go a little bit back. I have a question. Like before, when you were talking about your process, like you go on Quora, you find questions, you kind of do the research, the dirty word, but okay, then you end up, let's say, with 6 topics, and with every topic you may have like 5 questions or 3 questions, and then altogether it's like 30 questions. Sooner or later you're going to run out of questions.
Yes.
So what do you do then? Because I think that there is like a common misunderstanding that you should create new stuff all the time, and that's not true, right?
No, it's not true. The value is in telling the same thing over and over again, but from different perspectives. Like if you look at all those sort of big names like Gary Vaynerchuk and all of these people, they're saying the same stuff all over and over.
For 20 years.
For 20 years, exactly. And there is not a lot, like I can't redefine how businesses are run, right? Like it's been done. We all know what we should be doing, and like I can't reinvent marketing. And so like the basics of marketing haven't changed in 100 years because the people's needs are sort of always the same, right? We need to survive, we need to eat, we need to et cetera, like we need to have our ego fed, et cetera. That hasn't changed. That hasn't changed marketing in 100 years. And so basically what you're saying is the same things over and over again, but from different perspectives. So what I actually do is I check my LinkedIn contents analytics, not in LinkedIn because LinkedIn analytics suck, but I use a tool that shows me like what was the what were the impressions, what was the click-through rate on the content, what was the engagement rate on the content, how many comments did I get, how many all of the engagement stuff, and how many times the content was reshared. And what I do is content that has low reach but high engagement rate, for example, I turn that into I know that people have been watching, like they have seen the post, they have stayed on the post, but they haven't reacted to it. So that usually means that it can be basically the topic was good, but the message was wrong. And so I turned that into another piece of content, but from another angle. And then you just experiment. And you're sort of it's not repurposing, it's almost like recycling content, but it's fresh. Like it's not, you don't copy paste things, but you take a topic and you try to get another angle on it. Like, how can I make this more interesting? Or, what would be another way of looking at it? Or what would be sort of, if I have something on, I don't know, for example, I'm going to give you an example. I had a post on like how speed in startups is misinterpreted, and basically saying that if you think about strategy and all of that stuff, if you take things like slowly, that slow is sort of means that you make steady progress, and steady progress means that you're fast. And I put a meme onto that post, and I posted it, and it got like 300 impressions or something like that, like really like low and laughable. But I saw that the engagement rate was high on that one. So there is definitely something in speed of startups that I want to talk about. Like I need to talk about it, but the post was poor. And so I recreated that post, but I added an infographic, sort of like what first-time founders think speed is, and what second-time founders know speed is. And I got like a visual thing that was sort of exciting. And I rewrote the whole post, and posted that, and I got 2,300 impressions, which is 8 times more than the first one, and I got like 50 comments, etc. When on the first one I didn't have any. So it's always sort of it's saying the same thing, but from a different perspective, because the first thing didn't resonate with the audience. So I basically I articulated my thoughts in the wrong way, and so that's sort of how I then experiment with content. But now I know, for example, if somebody asks me on a podcast, what are your thoughts on the speed of startups, I know how to articulate that so that it will resonate with them. So we're always sort of testing and articulating and putting together, etc.
Interesting. Can you share with us what tool is that you use for the
it's
Autordap? Autordap.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know they also have like the analytics
well,
side.
That's the most like
that's the most valuable thing, because I used it
that's the interesting thing is that they have two really useful features. One is they show you how the post will look like before you post it, because it's important.
This is how I use it.
Exactly. That's the important thing for
and
the
that's
hook.
why I stopped using it once it became paid.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same. Basically I went through the free phase. I was using it, and then I sort of you get a feel for what will be shown on the, so you don't sort of need it. But then they have amazing, and they're the only tool that has good analytics, because I tried others and they suck, and they're not even letting you know that on the landing page.
Exactly.
They're not they are selling it as they have a positioning problem, because they're on their landing page, like because I was just like last month I went into their software, and it just I was using Favicon Create or something like that for analytics, and it basically it got cancelled now, the software. And I was looking into an alternative, and I tried like 3 or 4 different, and it just didn't work. And then I went back into the Autordap, and I set up my account, and I'm doing like a little, and I'm looking, this is amazing. How come I didn't see that? And then I went onto the landing page, and I see it, because you're not talking about it, because like, what are you doing? Like, and they have an amazing marketing strategy. They really do, because they're partnering up with, Richard van der Blom and all of that. And they're doing amazing connections, but they have a positioning problem, actually.
Interesting. So Autordap, if you're listening to this.
Well, I was supposed to have a meeting with them 2 hours ago, but they canceled. So. Yeah.
Maybe next time.
Yeah.
Anyways, last question, because this is getting long.
Sure.
Oh shit, I forgot the last question. No, I'm joking. So, okay, you told us about this process that you have, and you are following this process now for quite, I'd say a year, 2 years, something like that.
Yeah.
what were the results?
You mean the sort of the
tangible results? Like, can you say, okay, because I was showing up.
I can do better. I can read you the email, the last email that I got from a client actually. Give me a second. The email is, hi Andrej, I just went through just finished watching your final video on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. Can we talk basically? And she scheduled the call with me.
That's it.
On January 26th. So I know that, like, in the beginning I was sort of worried because I started doing articles and then people said nobody's reading anymore, right? So I started doing videos and then I got comments, nobody's watching 45-minute videos anymore. And then you get an email from the client saying, hey, I just watched your 45-minute video. It's amazing. Could you please, like, can we hop on a call?
Yeah.
Right? So the tangible results are, they're like, I can't tell you what's the exact ROI of how much time I spent versus what I get back. I can't track that. But what I do know is that whenever I come onto a client call, they look at the screen and, oh, like the beard is real. And I'm like, well, yeah, what did you think was going to, like, no, we just stopped. Maybe it was like AI generated or something. No, it's not. Like, it's real. You can touch it. And you sort of get this almost friendly vibe because they have been following you for the past 6 months, 8 months, a year, whatever. And you almost have this, like, I'm almost sort of embarrassed because they know you and they know your content and they know how you're thinking and you have no idea who they are, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But it's so easy to sell because they're already decided that they want to work with you. It's just a matter of will the price work for me or won't it?
Exactly.
That's it. Exactly. I don't have to sell on my sales calls, which is sort of the biggest benefit because I suck at sales. And so that, like, I would honestly, I would probably just want to do everything just for free. It's just like, no, I'll help you. No, it's not a problem. Like, if I didn't have to actually make money to live. But, the thing is that, like, it really helps with whenever, like, whatever partnerships I try to start because I just show them, like, want to do a workshop together. I have my, I work on positioning and stuff like that. Oh, okay, can you share something? Sure, here's my LinkedIn profile. If I have a client, like, on the other side, you can go through my content in the past year and a half, 2 years on LinkedIn, and you can position the company yourself. The only thing that's going to happen is you'll actually need a year to go through the content and learn.
Have the time to do that.
And I can help you do it in a couple of weeks instead of spending a year. And if that's worth the price, then fine. And if it's not, go ahead and look at my LinkedIn profile and just do it yourself. So I can't tell the exact ROI, but I do know that it helps me sell and it helps me create partnerships, start conversations, etc., etc. So I would definitely recommend that to anybody who's looking sort of to build any sort of authority on any topic really, that's sort of business related.
Well, Andrej, this was awesome.
This was fun. Told you, the best podcast recording you're ever going to do.
So I guess you're going to come again then, I guess.
I can come. I can talk about
next season. Come on,
that sounds good. We have on season 2, like, sounds good.
All right,
I'm up for it. Thank you for having me.
No, it was my pleasure. And guys, see you. And that's a wrap on today's dive on the VideoSavvy Marketer Podcast. A massive thank you to Andrej for highlighting the sheer importance of clear positioning. Without it, you're basically playing hard to get with your potential client. And let's face it, that strategy should be left to teenagers, not tech companies. We tackled the crucial need for simplifying the content creation process, especially for smaller teams. I am so impressed with Andrej's method that I am shamelessly borrowing it. We also covered the traps of overselling your product value, particularly to B2B companies. Your potential customers are savvy. They want real results. The standout moment for me was definitely Andrej's insight into how his video and other content helps him with the sales process. Potential clients are already familiar with him and what he offers by the time they book a call. Often, it's just the price that needs discussion. I admire how he openly shares his knowledge and makes his added value crystal clear. You can spend a year on his website learning how to position your product, or he could guide you through it in just a couple of weeks. The choice is yours, and I think that's brilliant. So, if this episode got you thinking, chuckling, or sparked a eureka moment, then cheers to that. Share the love and this episode with your network, hammer the subscription button as if it was an alarm clock on Monday morning, and drop us a comment down below. Have a fantastic day, stay savvy, and see you in the next episode.